Welcome to the School Owner Talk podcast, the longest-running martial arts school owner podcast in our industry. Join Duane Brumitt and Allie Alberigo as they share expert insights, proven strategies, and the keys to growing your martial arts business. Let's take your school to the next level. And now here's our hosts, Duane and Allie.
Hey, welcome back to SchoolOwnerTalk.com. I am Allie Alberigo, aren't I? Nope, I'm Duane Brumitt, and you are?
I'm Duane Brumitt. I don't know. Who am I here? I don't know. Who am I? Okay, so it's Allie and Duane at least, and we're with our good friend and marketing expert and kind of semi-regular guest on our show, right? Is Gus Lopez from Lead Hunter Media.
Yeah, exactly. And we have him here today to talk about we're talking about some of this stuff, but basically three common pitfalls that school owners are making, especially with their marketing, and then how AI can actually solve some of these problems for martial arts school owners with those mistakes. So Gus, thanks for being on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I try to come every 6 months or something like that to this show.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Look, it's good to always have a resident expert, somebody that knows their stuff that could share with our clients so that they could get insider information, so to speak, not in a Nancy Pelosi kind of way where she's making billions off of it, but in a good way that they could learn things and get some insight. I think, though, the most important thing for people, and let me just point this out now for everyone, is take notes. And if you're driving and you can't take notes, go back to the conversation and then write down, because if you get just one or two ideas, that could literally propel your school so far forward, right? You could make tons of money. You might have better retention. You might learn a mistake that you've been doing commonly. So take those notes and then put them into action.
And Gus, we did have you, I think, in the middle of the summer because we talked about having a lot of school owners like to cut their ads in the summer and how important, that was to not do that. So we did talk about that. But before we get into the three, those three common mistakes or pitfalls or whatever you want to call them, I am curious though, your take on just how the industry has shifted, with regards to marketing, social media marketing, even AI. I mean, there's been a big shift, and I think martial artists get stuck in their ways and are afraid of, although they need technology, they're sometimes afraid of it. And like we had talked about before we got on the call, I'm a control freak. As martial artists, we're control freaks. So what do you see in the industry happening right now that I don't know, is totally different than 5 years ago?
Yeah, I see a few things. Well, first of all, we've had the best summer that we've ever had in terms of our client results. Like we were still, it wasn't even a question of, oh, things are slow, we're not getting leads, we're not getting appointments. Like everybody was getting leads, everybody was getting appointments. Some months were slower than others, right? Like July, it was a little bit harder on enrollment because people had that that 4th of July mindset, right? But people were still able to getting bookings and all that. But that's what I've seen. As far as what I've seen in the industry in general, things are just continuing to move really, really fast, especially with today's market. Like AI is expediting a lot of the things. So a lot of the things that people were doing before, they're just not working anymore, right? Like even if you were marketing 6 months ago, and you were doing really well, like that might not be working anymore. So now things are moving really, really fast, and people have to be able to make these fast adjustments or they're going to be left behind, right? And there's kind of stages to school owners, right? There's the first stage, which is a school owner that is stuck in indecision that doesn't do anything. I call this like the level one school owner where they know they need a market, they know that they have a hole, but they're either deciding what marketing company to choose from for months, or they just won't decide to do it, right, and go all in with their business, right? So that's the first thing that I see. Those people are just gonna get dusted. Like that, you have to be marketing in today's day and age, right,
Well,
with competition.
let me cut in here real quick and to say I get the indecisiveness. I don't know if you know of the DISC test, but I took the DISC test years ago with Zig Ziglar's corporation, and you know how you spell DISC, it's DICS. And anyways, the C is somebody that is kind of like, uh, ready, aim,
Yeah.
aim, aim. The D is somebody that's like ready, fire, aim, that type of thing. But
Yeah.
so I get that because I was a high C at one time where I have to, really do my due diligence and think in my head that I am doing my due diligence, but really it's procrastinating on, actually pulling the trigger. So I get that. And I think now it's harder than ever because there's so many marketing companies that are popping up all
Yeah.
over, especially ones that aren't martial arts specific, but they're trying to dive into the martial arts realm. When I would think that there's probably a lot of them that uh, have no idea anything about martial arts. They're just saying, I can get you X amount of leads and, yada, yada, yada. In fact, a good friend of mine has a studio in Michigan, and he hired a different company than yours, paid up front, like I don't know, $5,000, $6,000,
Mhm.
and got got nothing. I mean, almost nothing for what he paid. And I watched a video recently with regards to how pissed off he was at that company. And of course, he was sharing that all over social media
Oh, I
as
saw
well.
that.
So,
I saw
yeah,
that video.
yeah. And so uh, I get the hesitation right now, and more so than ever before because there's so many of those companies that are saying that they're going to get you. I can get you 100 leads in a week or whatever it is. I'm exaggerating, but
Yeah.
Gus, how do you feel about people, companies, and you don't have to give me any specific companies, but you're not touting the fact that you're going to give somebody 100 leads in a week, right?
Yeah, no, I get that, and I totally understand where people are coming from, right? There's like 30 to 50 other martial arts marketing agencies, and you know, when I was looking at this about a year ago, I was like, you know what? There's 30 to 50 marketing agencies. They're all saying the same thing. Like, how do I know we've been around for a long time? I know we can get amazing results, but how do I actually become better than everybody else to the point where it's like undeniable, like they can't replicate what I do, they can't get the results that I do. And that's where things kind of started to shift in my head. Like we were already getting results, but not to the point where we're getting now, where our client success rate is like 90+%. Our retention rate is like crazy in the high 90s, right? 95 plus, right? So, and that all comes with just creating the best product that you possibly can, the best service, the best customer service, right? And that's where we can kind of dive into our proprietary AI and this prepay system that we have and all these things that we're going to dive into today, right? But I get the hesitation, but even if it's working with somebody or you're doing it yourself, you have to do something, right? Doing something is as long as you don't just throw 10 grand at somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, right? You have to be able to at least try something. Even if you don't do paid ads, you have to be able to maybe post content. You have to be able to like send out postcards. Take some sort of action, even if it's not working with a marketing company, right? A lot of people aren't ready to work with a marketing company because they don't have a sales process. They might not be familiar with it, right? Like that's all something that they can kind of get to and once they get to a certain point, right? But they have to be able to do something and they have to be able to make those decisions. If you're going to work with somebody, work with somebody. If you're not, then cool, try to do something on your own and see how that works, right? But that's kind of like level one studio, right?
Analysis of paralysis, right? Or paralysis of analysis, right? That's level
Paralysis
one.
analysis.
There-
Yeah.
there's three levels, so I want to go like very briefly to the level, right? Number one is those types of school owner, right? Number two is the school owner that's doing something, but they might not be doing it to the best of their ability, right? Like I talk to a lot of other school owners. Oh, I'm already working with a marketing company, and I'm like, oh, great. Like, what does your booking rate look like? What is your show up rate? Like, how many students are you enrolling? They're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'm just getting leads, right? So it's like they're doing something and they might be getting some results or mediocre results, but they're not really doing the best of their ability. They're not really dialing in those little gaps that they need to. to maximize their enrollments, right? Like we just had somebody come to us, they're like, hey, our booking rate is horrible. I am getting results. I think he was getting like 20 students a month or something like that. But I know that my booking rate is not where it should be and I'm not growing. So boom, he came on with us. We doubled his booking rate, we doubled his enrollment rate, his show up rate, and now he's getting even better results, right? A lot of people in his position would be like, no, I'm already doing fine. Let me not change. But this corner was like, hey, I need to be better. I need to actually grow, right? Not just seeing these numbers on the screen. So that's kind of be like type of school owner. They're doing something, but they're not doing it to the best of their ability. They're kind of okay with the results. And then there's a third type of school owners that are like, I need to dial everything in. I need to have the best possible system that I can. And that's usually the type of school owner that ends up working with us. We're like, hey, my booking rate is bad. My show up rate is horrible. Like my close rate is not as good where it needs to be. And that's where we really start dialing those things in with the AI, with our system, with our training. And that's what really makes the biggest difference for people. And then again, we can dive into the specifics, but and the mistakes. But once you fix these mistakes that I'm going to talk about, there's really no way that you can't be getting students and that you can't grow your school because those are the only levers that you need to pull to actually get results and get enrollments.
So level one, they're not doing anything. They know they should be doing it, but they're procrastinating. Level two is they're doing something, but they're also not tracking everything, and they don't have the systems that they need to have. And then level three would be what again?
Yeah, it's school owners that are dialing in every single part of their marketing, right? They're trying to increase their booking rate. They're trying to increase their show up rate. They're trying to increase their close rate, right? And pushing all these little levers, and again, putting more systems on the back end, like utilizing our AI system, right? That follows up and books leads 24/7, and like using these other sales systems, using a prepay system. If people aren't showing up, getting people to prepay before they show up, learning how to be a better closer, how to optimize their sales process, how to structure it where as soon as a lead comes into the door, there's a systemized process from A to Z on what that person is going to experience to be able to close and to be able to enroll as a student, right? Those are the things that people at a higher level are like, I really need to dial these things in. And once they do that, it's just a matter of spending more money and getting to where they want to be.
Did I lose you?
No, he ended his statement and he's waiting for a response. And
Okay.
I was being quiet because I usually wanted to see if you jumped in. But you know what? I was thinking though, out of all of those three type of people, the first two, and in defense of every one of these school owners, they don't know what they don't know. That's one of our favorite terms, Duane. We've used that a million times over the years on our podcast. You don't know what you don't know. And I think that a lot of them need to be educated. However, they don't have the energy or the time. Because I started coaching a guy about 2 years ago, right? And before we started coaching, he had no school. And then we opened up the school together. We found a place, we rented the building, we decorated, we started way before he was actually in business coaching. And I had warned him back then too, look, this is an exhausting business. You don't realize how many components there are to this business. New enrollments, signups, trials, and then stats. Like most people got in the martial arts because they're grunts. They like to fight. They like to train. They like martial arts. They like physical stuff. But then now they open up a school and all of a sudden they have to become an accountant, a sales manager, a statistical and analyzer. Like it's way more than they could have ever thought they'd do, and a lot of them just don't have it within them to do it. So what I like about you, Gus, too, is you actually do train them on the close, train them on the sale, train them on the stats, teaching them how to do these things and manage them. And then you have software that you give to them included in your price, that helps them manage this stuff.
Yeah, and I have to because if I didn't do all those things, there's so many like places where people can fail, right? Before we had this AI follow-up system, our biggest problem wasn't getting leads, it was getting people to follow up with the leads. And
Right.
that's why they weren't getting the results that they wanted. And I'm like, well, they're still my clients. I still have to fix this because they're gonna
Yeah.
leave me anyways. And I could just complain and be like, well, it was their fault, or how can I fix this? How can I take control of the situation? Make it so easy for anybody to just use our system, have to do as little as possible and get results, right? Like at the end of the day, if people fail after that, then that's, it's mainly a people thing after that. But once you have that, it's like, what else can, like, it's undeniable for you to get results at that point.
Yeah. Well, you and I had a client together, and they would get the leads, they would get the trials, but never follow up. And then when people didn't show or they didn't sign up for the trial, they would sit back and go, "Ah, man, they were a bad lead, man. They're just not interested." Meanwhile, there are a lot of things that could have gotten in the way in between that stopped them from making that initial appointment. So if you then just throw your hands in the air and say, "Oh, it's their fault, they're jerks, the leads suck," you're missing out on every opportunity. Duane talked about this in one podcast. He said every lead is not just for new students, right? Duane, you were saying we could get birthday parties, we could get other self-defense seminars. There's a million other marketing opportunities when those leads click that button and raise their hand.
Yeah, and even they could be a referral too. I mean, they
Right.
themselves may never join it, but they read, for us, we do a daily email that goes out, and yeah, 3 times a week there's an offer, but there's content inside of all those emails,
Right.
and who knows, little Johnny's mom's reading that email, but she doesn't want Johnny in it, or Johnny's not interested in being in it, but she has her best friend whose son's interested, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I get these emails from this karate guy, and it's TriStar Martial Arts Academy, Duane Brumitt." Like, you don't know what the opportunities would be, so you've got to capitalize on all of them, I think.
Yeah, that's why they say don't burn bridges, because you just never know where that lead will lead, right? Like what happens with it, and they might be like, oh, they've been on your list for the longest time, and they're the head of a real estate agency, and they manage like 40 men and women that go out and sell, and now the boss says we need to protect our people, we need a self defense course, and bam, they're like, Duane Brumitt, he's been talking about that, and oh yeah, here I want to recommend this guy. And, like, you never know where it's going to lead, right? The path.
Yep.
So cool, Gus. So those are the definite determinations of who we have to deal with. Obviously, we'd rather have a bunch of number threes, right? But sometimes we have the number ones and the number twos. So what else do you suggest?
Yeah, well, I think those are the three types of people, right? I mean, if you're number one, you really have to like try to do your best as possible to at least set some sort of budget, even if it's like $1,000 a month or something. Make it a priority to just spend it on advertising, whether it's ads, whether it's postcards or whatever it is. Like you have to have a marketing budget. Like you're not a freelance, right? Most people are solopreneurs when they're starting off, but you need to kind of change that frame because otherwise you're just going to be stuck in that perpetual hamster wheel where you're doing everything, you're not growing, you can't afford a market, and it's just like a loop, and you're stuck in you talked about a hamster wheel,
Yeah.
right? So you want to get out of that stage. If you're the second stage, then you really want to start looking at like what it is that your goal is, and like, do you just want to get okay results, or do you want to get your dream results, right? Because it's harder to get people from the first stage to the second stage. Sorry, it's actually easier to get people from the first stage to the second stage to the second stage to the third stage because the people at number two, they're comfortable. They think that they're getting results, right? So it's like it's even harder for them to like try to even do better because they think they're doing okay, right?
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but I've seen that tons of
Yeah,
times.
they're satisfied, but and they kind of okay with where they're at. Like they're getting
Satisfied, and
leads.
they don't have the pain of not being able to eat like the first
Right.
guys. And
Right.
they're just like, well, I mean, I might just stay where I'm at.
Right,
You know?
right, yeah. Makes
Um,
sense. That happens all the time. Comfortable, when you're comfortable, you tend to push less.
yeah, and then, so like those are the three main things. Obviously, you want to get to the third stage, and then there's really three big mistakes that people have when it comes to their paid ads or their online marketing, right? Number one is lead flow and lead quality, right? So getting enough leads and getting actual leads that are going to be good leads. And when I say good leads, is I mean people that actually talk to you, right? There's a lot of other agencies that like to use lead forms, and basically what a lead form is whenever you click on an ad, a little form pops up, and what happens with that is Facebook autofills their information, right? So they can have some old information, old phone numbers, old emails, and that they can just click a button and submit all that. And yeah, it looks great. You're getting 50, 100 leads a month, and the company can be like, hey, look how many leads I'm getting you. But those leads are usually not the best quality, right? Another thing that Facebook just added a few months ago that because we were also doing that, but we were doing it a different way that was actually working for a few select clients, right, that wanted to do that, is now we would used to just add custom fields where it was like, hey, you have to manually enter your phone number, and now they don't allow that anymore. Now you're not able to add like certain custom fields for that specific for the specific like client information. So you can't just be like, hey, what's your best phone number anymore? Because they have to make you use the actual contact info that they have on the form. So now, if you're getting a ton of leads from lead forms, but it's not the best quality leads, it might be wrong phone numbers. That's where you get the call. That's when you call people and they're like, oh, I didn't sign up for anything. That's what happens with those types of people, right? With those types of forms, right? So what we've done in inverse to that is we like to, as you know, because we've been doing this, we like to use sales funnels. So we actually have people click on an ad, they go to a sales funnel, and then on that sales funnel, people have to manually enter their name, email, and phone number, right? So that eliminates a lot of, oh, I didn't sign up for this, unless they were like drunk at 2 in the morning or something,
Yeah.
which, but for the most part, like these people actually sign up for it because they have to manually type in their info, right? So we've seen that actually just play a big role in increasing our lead quality, and actually getting people to respond to us. So that's the kind of the first thing, and then I can kind of move on to the other 2 points. But what do you guys think about like that first big pitfall?
Yeah, well, I remember talking with you about those lead forms before because there were some local individuals in our town that were running ads and they were using the lead forms. And I had never seen that before, and so I brought that up with you, and you're like, "Yeah, let's." I mean, you didn't tell me no. You just said we can do it, but here's why I recommend that we don't do it. You don't just shut me down. So, but yeah, so I remember that, and it was a good thing that we didn't do that anyways. It just would have been double work on a couple of different things anyhow. But the fact that it wasn't going to give me better or the qualified leads that I wanted.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that's the first thing that I've seen that a lot of people are doing is they're just using lead forms, and then they're like their booking rate is horrible, or their lead to response ratio is horrible because these are just not people that are responding. These are may look good on paper, and a bunch of other marketing companies can be like, look how many leads I got, but if the lead doesn't talk to you, then it's just a dead lead. Like it doesn't matter, right? You're better off getting a higher quality lead that's actually going to talk to you that you can convert, right? So that's the first biggest pitfall that I've seen that we fixed a lot for clients that come to us. The second thing is the follow up, right? So most schools are just not good at following up, and even the ones that are good, like you can't. You have a lot of leads coming in at night, so you can't text people at 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning or on a Sunday when you're out with your kids, right? So you have to have some sort of system that does that for you in an effective manner. And not just one thing that obviously has worked for us is our proprietary AI system, right? We have Brett, which is our AI, genius, is he is always sending me screenshots. People on Sundays responding to the AI, booking appointments. People at 3 in the morning responding to the AI, booking appointments. So it doesn't matter and like what time it is, what day it is. Our AI system is following up with leads, talking to customers, answering all their questions, and doing that 24/7. And I think a lot of people have hesitation with AI because they've seen a lot of bad ones, right? And I agree, there's a lot of bad ones. That's why we had to custom build ours. And we spent the last 18 months, our tech genius spent the last 18 months coding it and doing all the tweaks. And then we spend time together integrating it with our system. And I think you guys have tested it already. you know it's not just a basic AI that answers basic questions. You know it can answer very complex questions and it answers immediately, right? So if somebody texts at 3 in the morning, they shoot off 3 questions, they get an answer within the first minute after that. And that has not only increased our booking rate, our lead quality, but actually our show up rate because people feel like they talk to you now and people have more of a relationship with you, right? So it's not just they get a basic automation and then if they show up great, like now they actually have an actual conversation with you, they actually have more of a connection with you. And then we combine that with the phone call, which we'll talk about here in a second, with the human phone call, and that's kind of what ties everything together. But that's the second thing is you have to have some sort of system that is booking leads for you and that like it's not just enough to have a basic automation anymore. Like it does work to a certain extent, but it's not going to work as good as having an AI system following up with your leads.
Yeah, I know that, when I mean, we have automations that do follow up with people. So it's not to say that we still don't have those, but when you can have an actual AI bot, if you will, do it in real time as opposed to something that's set up and the ability for it to be able to diagnose what they're saying and give the correct response to what they're saying. I think that that's invaluable. And right now is the time, if you're not in on this, to get in on this because it's only going to get uh, faster and bigger. I mean, it really is. AI is not going away, so it's only going to get faster and bigger.
Yeah, and one thing about like our AI is that we're already ahead of most people and we're just gonna keep getting better. Like eventually we're gonna figure out how to use the voice AI and use it to a high level where it actually works well, right? We're also just updating our AI system because we're getting all these customer data, and there are also people are like, oh, like this works well, but can we add this or can we add this? Like we're getting all of our clients' data, and our tech wizard Brett is working on, okay, how can I continue adding on to this and making this better? So we're already like 18 months ahead of most people, and we're only going to keep getting better and better and better. And again, if you're somebody that's just going to stay stuck in the past, you need to realize that there's going to be people like us, like our clients, that are going to just simply outcompete you because we're using technology to a higher level. And yeah, it's doing wonders for our booking rate, just our client success rate in general. Like I've never been like more proud and more confident because our system just works and it's working really well. And yeah, and it's a big play. A big play is that AI system that increases lead quality, show up rate. Obviously, the time that you save, like not having to follow up with leads, is gonna save you like at least 10 to 20 hours a week, right? So that's another component of it as well.
Yeah, and that 10 to 20 hours a week is dependent upon the I would say the level of your school. So how big your school is, you know.
Correct.
So all right, so what's the third point that we want to get to?
Yeah, the third point is no shows, right? So this is a big thing for a lot of people is they just can't get people to show up, right? Maybe you have the first two people you're getting leads or booking appointments, but you're getting people not to show, right? And one thing that we've been doing, whether it's a free trial or a paid trial, mainly works a little bit better with our paid trials, is having some sort of prepay system for people to actually prepay before they show up, right? Even if it's something small like $10 or $8 or $5, if you can get people to prepay before they show up, then their show up rate goes through the roof, like 90% plus. And the more people you can get prepaid, not because not everybody's going to prepay, right? You're going to have people book an appointment and they're going to have the option to prepay. Some are going to prepay, some are not going to prepay. We have the school owner call them, get them to prepay over the phone, or while they're on the phone, get them to prepay over the link that we sent them, right? The more people you can get to prepay, the more shows you're going to get, obviously, right? And yeah, like you're never going to have a 100% prepay rate, but the more you can get people to prepay, the more people you know for sure are going to show up. So that alone has increased our show up rate dramatically, right? People are getting 20% show up rates. Now they're getting 90+% show up rates, right? And this is not a theory, right? Like I know we went back and forth like over the years, like does this work? Does this not work? It works because we have clients proof to show that it actually works and it's doing really well. And I can show you that data as well.
So what you're bringing people to the page, they're putting in their information, and then they're booking their appointment, and then after that you are getting the money for the paid trial. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And if they don't pay for it right then and there, you're following up with them. And when I say you, the AI is following up with them to get them to prepay.
No, so the once they book, they just get appointment reminders with the prepay links, and then if they some people will prepay, and then if they don't, then we just have the schooner call them and get them to prepay over the phone, or get them to prepay, on the phone, get them to prepay online to save time, right?
Okay.
Yeah, the way that we frame it is like, hey, prepay now to save time, right? Because nobody wants to come in and spend 15 minutes trying to pay and do all these things. Like they rather just get it done beforehand. So,
Okay. All right. That's neat.
but
Hey, Allie, you're muted, just so you know.
I
Oh,
know,
there you
I
go.
know. I was typing, and you guys, you said that it was loud, right? You could hear it.
oh yeah, you need a silent keyboard. You
I do
keyboard.
have a silent keyboard. You should have heard my first keyboard. This is the silent keyboard.
Well,
But I
I
was,
think if we went back onto older podcasts, we probably could hear that keyboard.
yeah, you probably could, but that just goes to show we're working and podcasting at the same time. Normally, I'm pulling up some extra info as well. I have a quick question though. So, where, well, maybe not so much a question, but it kind of is a question. So, have you found the people who finally take the shot of going into using your marketing or your AI system to see that their results are much better? And then they start, this is what the question is, and then they finally start paying more attention to their leads and follow up and follow through. Because I think some people don't do it, because I know what it's like. I'll get like 10 or 15 leads a month and they ghost you. Like they don't ever respond. They fill out the form. Some of them even go as far as setting up appointments. We have automations that come in to make sure that they're greeted and what to wear, and we follow up the day before and the day of, and then they don't show. And it's almost like you just went out on a bad date, and the person, your picture was not at all representative of what you looked like, and you show up, which I've had some in my lifetime that were like that. And I'm like, they're like, "Hi, it's me." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not you. I saw your picture. That's not you." And then they just disappear. Have you found that has really taken it through even further because of that? And people are the school owners are better at what they're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part is just getting people through the door, right? I think, I guess there's really four pitfalls if you really look at the scheme and things. The last pitfall is their close rate and their sales process. But most school owners actually have a pretty okay process, but it's really just getting them through the door, right? Now, obviously, there's some school owners that have no sales process, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've had um, a good amount of clients, not a good amount, maybe a slight few where we get them hundreds and hundreds of leads and hundreds of shows and they close like two people. And I'm like, how are you, what's your sales process? And they're like, oh, well, they come in and then they leave. And then they, if they don't sign up, then we just don't talk to them again. And I'm like,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
yeah, like I look, you know me, I love to, well, Duane and I are like avid readers, and so are you. But I actually took that Grant Cardone, I'm a salesperson for the last 30, 40, more than that, 45 years. And I took Grant Cardone's Sales University, and I paid like 13 grand for it. And I got out like a good, I would say a handful of pretty successful methods out of it. So I think that people are not willing to invest in themselves sometimes. They're so fearful. Like, hey, if I take a chance with Gus, what if it doesn't work? Like they never ask the latter question, like, well, what if it does work? Right. And they don't really understand how marketing works. Like, let's say they advertise with you, I don't know, let's pretend it was like $500 a month, and they got 7 leads, and out of the 7 leads, they only closed two. A lot of them will complain, "Oh, I only got two," right? But they don't realize that if they charge even $100 a month, that's 1,200. They made $2,400 on the money they spent with you profit, right? So they have to look at that as a continual process, right? And then as they grow, eventually they're going to start having a certain select group of clients that will be paying for all their marketing.
Yeah,
They're like the marketing people. Like they pay for the marketing funnel.
yeah, I do find that a lot of school owners have very short hindsight. And that's why we don't do month to month like agreements or anything like that. Because like, what is a month gonna do? Like, there's there's still so many things that are in factor, so much momentum, so many adjustments. So a month is really not gonna do anything, right? And if you're looking at things, even quarterly, like yeah, you can gauge where you're at quarterly, but like if you look at the whole year, and that's something that you do, which I really liked, that you really are able to be like, hey, I spent this amount, I got this amount back, like this is
Yeah.
working, right? But as far as the sales process, Duane and I recorded a really amazing course that is actually in our Lead Hunter Media 6-week platform that we give to our school owners. That so like, my goal was, okay, what's all the problems my clients are having? How can I solve them? And we did that. We solved the follow up with the AI. We solved no shows with a previous system. We solved them having a bad sales process with our training inside our 6-week platform. Which there's plenty of other more trainings. I know, Ali, we did a training on retention, referrals, everything's in that 6-week program,
Right.
right? So if people don't know about that, I don't know if you remember when we shot that.
I
Uh,
do.
yeah, we shot that, and it was really great. A lot of people don't have referral programs. A lot of people don't have good retention rates. So like, there's so many other things, and again, we just tried our best to be the best. And I know if I can do that, doesn't matter if there's 50 other agencies, they're not going to be the same. And that sometimes it's hard to convey to people, right? But that's why I'm here, and that's why I want to share the value with everybody.
Awesome.
Well, I know
But
that you had talked about, you had some stats and those type of things that you wanted to talk about and kind of demonstrate and show, right?
yeah, I mean the biggest stats like that I've seen was the increased lead quality and increased booking rate. We've taken people from like 15% booking rate, 20% booking rate to like 40, 50 plus booking rate with our AI system, right? As well as our AI system follows up for a whole month afterwards if they don't actually book, right? So say a lead comes in, they never respond, they keep getting followed for a whole month after that, right? And the school owner doesn't have to do anything. So our booking rates are through the roof. Again, if you're having no-show issues, our previous system is going to solve that. And then if you're having actual closing issues, then we have a sales training on our client portal that is going to walk you through a training with me and Duane, where Duane actually breaks down his entire sales process step by step, which is pretty amazing, by the way, the way you have everything automated and the way that everything's systemized. So that's if you can solve those things, if you can solve lead quality, follow up, and like actually getting people to show up, and you can close, like there's no way you're not going to get students, and there's no way that you're not going to keep growing as a school. Unless you have a retention rate that's bad, that we'll talk about that in the another call. But yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother dynamic. We're really talking about the first phase of the student process is getting them in the door from the lead, from the ad, in the door, a sales process to get them enrolled. And then after that, there's a whole entire another system or many systems, right, for keeping them as students. That's a whole nother podcast that we could do. And
Yeah.
I think that that's essential, that you have all of those. And then, it depends. The average retention rate in most martial arts schools is around 18 months to 20 months nowadays, sometimes even shorter. And it's going to keep getting shorter because people are quick to jump from activity to activity.
Yeah.
So the AI though, I've tested it. Do you have any way you could show like people? I mean, you want to show some stats or show the AI in progress? I think didn't we do that recently? You and I were doing it live, and it was answering me. And
Yeah, we did on our podcast, but I mean, if you one of you want to test it right now, I mean, you can share your screen and we can go live with it.
What do you
And
think, Duane? You want to do it?
Sure. Yeah.
so, Duane, do you want me to add you? I know.
Yeah, add Duane.
Okay, great. Let me add you, Duane. And I know we've did this, so I have to remove your contact. And
You got to take me out and put me back in.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I have to give me like 5 minutes to open this up. We can keep talking. I just have to log back into this.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to show people. And another thing I want to point out to those, look, AI and people use that word now constantly, right? I'm telling you, like, it's an amazing tool, but it's not foolproof at in this stage of the game. But it's certainly like if you didn't have a program manager and you were doing it all yourself, AI could certainly cut your workload in half. Like Duane mentioned before, you could take some of the hours that you used to be putting into maintaining and contacting and following up and let the AI do that. You'll save yourself so much time. And for even if you don't want to save the time and put it into more work, you could just save the time and relax a little bit more because life is short. So you want to enjoy as much time as you can. You don't want to have to be doing the tedious stuff on a day-to-day basis. It could really make you end up hating your career.
Yeah, we had a really cool martial arts manager that's one of our clients, and he's the one that communicates with us. And he's like, like he really likes the AI system because for him, he's like the actual manager. So obviously, it's not his business, right? Like, yeah, he doesn't want to be in there on a Sunday. He wants to be there with his family. And one thing he mentioned was like, hey, I can actually just be out on a Sunday, and I know that these leads are getting answered, and I know that we're still booking appointments because the AI is handling it 24/7. So, that's something also that peace of mind, where you're not losing money or you're not missing opportunities, right? And Duane, I just texted you that our system again. I just reset it, everything. I know you already tested it, so hopefully everything is smooth, but you can go in there, maybe share your screen, maybe test it out, or uh, maybe kind of see or actually, I can maybe share my screen so like you can see the responses in here. But um, let me see if I'm allowed to share, or how do you want to do it, Duane?
Yeah. Do you want? Yeah, I can share mine, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. If you can want to share that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let me do that.
All right. But you guys have been a little bit quiet, so I hope that everything that I said made perfect sense, and that's why you guys don't have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
All right.
I
So
used.
can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Can you make it bigger?
Yeah.
there you go.
If
Yeah,
you mean
that
like,
works.
can I make the words bigger? I don't know that I can do that.
I think
I
yeah,
can,
that's fine.
yeah, I can see.
I just put my glasses on so I could actually see it.
And it says, for those that are listening, it says, "Hi, I'm Ella with Karate Place. I see you're interested in our program. What would you like to know more about our class times or our class schedule? You're 2 weeks free." Let's see. What do I want to put in here?
Start with just asking questions. Don't ask it to schedule because once you schedule it, it'll send you the link and then it kind of shuts off. So you want to like ask it all the hard questions, right? Like anything that a parent would ask, right? I know we asked it some questions like, what are the schedules? How much do you charge? Where are you located?
Yeah,
Um,
do you have classes for this particular age group?
yeah, yeah. Like,
What I remember I would ask it stuff that I thought it would never be able to answer, like how does the martial arts benefit kids, like things like that. And it had great answers.
All right. So I'm just going to put it, what are the class times? All right. So I just sent it off. And we'll wait and see. How do you guys have it set up where it doesn't respond in 7 seconds every single time, or like how does that work?
yeah, and normally it takes about a minute. Sometimes GPT, depending on how the system is. Like on my end, it's already normally it's about a minute, so it doesn't seem like too body. It's like about a minute. Like I already see mine on my end. It's about to send. Yep.
All right, yeah. So it's got the class times in there. So dragons, tigers, We'd love to set you up with your first class. It's an awesome way to start your 2-week free trial. Are you ready?
Hey,
Uh,
Duane, ask it how does the martial arts benefit your, I think it's 3 to 7 year old in that category.
One of the actual cool things about this is that you normally have people describing their situation. So it's like, hey, I'm 70. Can I like, I haven't worked out in 5 years. Like, can I still do this? And it'll give you like a very specific answer about that question, right? And we've seen that a lot, especially with older people. They're like, hey, like, I just went through this or I just went through that. Um, and it's like pretty good as far as answering that specific question. And like people don't even think it's AI because the way it answers it, it's like very accurate and very tailored, right? So this is I know there's a lot of bad AIs out there, and I think that's why people are very hesitant. But I hope that you can read this out loud and you can show people that this is nothing like we've ever seen before in the industry.
Yeah, so I just said, how does martial arts benefit our 5-year-old? And it responded back, martial arts can be incredibly beneficial for a 5-year-old. It helps in developing physical skills like balance, coordination, flexibility beyond the physical. It also fosters discipline, focus, and respect. Kids often gain confidence and learn valuable social skills through interaction with their peers in structured environment. Would you like to know more about our program or schedule a trial class?
So
Let
it's
me
always
see.
prompting, obviously, it's answering a question, but it's always prompting you to take the next step. And one thing that I find one thing that I've discovered with this whole process is that people prioritize convenience over the actual quality, right? So if you're a school owner and you have a great school, but you take 3 days to respond, people are going to go to another school that takes minutes or it takes hours to respond, right? Because they nowadays you have that convenience factor, right? So you have to make sure that you make it easier for people to schedule, you make it easier for people to answer questions, which all this does, right? You can come in at 3 in the morning, they ask 3 questions, you get 3 answers, and schedule your appointment. Boom, you're done. You don't have to wait days, you don't have to wait the next morning. Everything is systemized and prioritized for convenience. But
So
you can go
I was going to say, I asked how much a class is. This is our classes cost about $150 per month. I'd recommend booking your first lesson to dive into the experience. Are you ready to get started? And then I also asked, where are you located? So I'm just waiting for it to, you know, fire that back as well. So we're located at, and then the address. Let's schedule your first class. It's a great way to see this program, to see if this program is right fit for you. I like the fact that it's not saying the same thing, hey, do you want to book? Hey, do you want to book? Hey, do you want to book? It is framing it differently based upon the conversation, which is nice. That means that, it has different ways to end the conversation, to still ask the question, if they're ready.
How does it deal with negativity? Like if you wrote something like this and said, that all sounds great. My kid's a little troublemaker. I wonder if he'll benefit from this program. Like, or he's a little punk. What would
yeah.
he get out of this?
It'll respond with empathy, but also if it says if you cuss on here, like if you cuss to the AI, it will say something like, "Hey, sorry, we teach children here. We're gonna have to end this conversation." So it actually kicks off that person off the conversation and it's like doesn't reply, right? So we have it set up that way, but normally if it's like negative self-talk or negative self-talk towards children, it's just limiting beliefs that they have, and the AI is able to respond in a certain way to help them overcome that.
Okay. Because I get people that do that a lot. They will, they'll say,
Let's,
"Oh, my
let's,
kid's a little troublemaker. He doesn't listen at home. He's not really respectful. Could you guys help me or something like that?"
yeah, let's try it. Let's say my kid's uncoordinated. Would this benefit him? Or like, I don't know if you could do this, and see what the AI responds. That can be your next question here. Um, but yeah, again, that's all just doubts that I guess limiting beliefs that parents have, right? So I hope we can go through a lot of these questions here. But if I had to break it down while you're doing this, and Duane, I don't know if you want to mention what you just did, which is
Yeah, I just asked, what time our class is basically for my 5-year-old, and it came back with the dragon times.
yeah.
So
So
That's awesome.
I did ask, my kid sucks with coordination. Can this help?
yeah.
So I'm
And
just
it,
waiting to hear back from that.
oh, that's a separate one. I can't wait to see what it says.
Yeah. Hopefully,
It says absolutely. Martial arts could be a great way to improve coordination. It involves movement that enhances balance, agility, and spatial awareness, which can be particularly beneficial for kids struggling with coordination. Plus, it builds confidence and discipline. We'd love to set you up for your first lesson. This is an awesome way to start your free 2 week trial. Are you ready?
That's great.
yeah, and
That's awesome.
no basic AI can do this, right? Like all of this stuff is custom coded, proprietary. Nobody else can replicate because we built this for our clients, right? And again, just stuff like this is just so the old way of doing things, right? Is which is, you run ads, you get leads, you send automations, and then if a prospect responds to you, if they do it at 3 in the morning, they do it on a Sunday, they have to wait for you to manually text them back, right? With this system, they get answers instantly, which again delays the time of their booking, increases our booking rate, increases our lead quality, and people feel like they have more of a relationship with you because they've talked to you, right? And that is what we've been seeing and why this is outcompeting every other system out there.
Nice. I did ask it who's the instructor, and it gave me the instructor brings over 30 years of martial arts experience, having trained in. Then there's some different things that this instructor trained in, and then of course it's asking, how about scheduling your first session? You'll get a taste of what the program and kick off your free trial on the right foot. So again, it's a totally different way of saying, hey, book the trial.
Right.
One other thing that I wanted to mention is all the this there's certain key elements that are very customizable. So the instructor data, the instructor bio, the pricing, the offer, all of that is something that you can just log into our software and update real time whenever you want. You don't have to come to us. You can just update it and update the info. Let's just say you get a new instructor, you can have a totally different instructor bio and totally update that real time through our software in our system.
Now,
So,
just like Chat GPT does, right? It starts to learn you, and then it scours the web for more information about you. So does your AI start to build upon the questions and the history and start to learn more about you? So when questions are asked, it could kind of that they may be asked in a different way or a different question, it'll start to know more about you and just automatically update and answer.
well, I don't think chat can do that. Like, even if you go to ChatGPT and you're like, hey, what's this guy's personal info? Unless it's like a public figure or something, um, it
No,
won't
no,
really.
that's not what I meant. I meant like if so, like for if I typed into ChatGPT, tell me more about Ali Alberigo's history, it would write a whole entire summary of me, right? So it learns because I use it all the time. It learns more about. Sometimes I'll ask a question that's very similar to a question I've asked in the past, but with a different twist. It'll pull all the information up and make a response. So does your AI know you, or you could go in and just keep adding to it and
Yeah, no, I mean,
continuously growing?
yeah, everything's already custom built with all of your information. So whenever we onboard a client, and I know I sent you guys the AI onboarding form,
Yeah.
it knows everything about your school, right? So it already, like, we already have everything we need there. And then if you want to have specific verbiage, if you want to change specific things, one of the biggest benefits of this is that we have all of our clients using this. So as we continue to improve and as our clients request to add more things, we're gonna add newer versions of this AI. So it's just gonna keep getting better and better and better. And it's already good as you can tell, but it's just gonna be taken to another level the more data that we get from clients. So that's something
Well,
that's yeah.
and
Nice.
and I'm glad to hear that it doesn't have the freedom to learn and then submit whatever it thinks it should submit. I do want those frameworks where it can only say what we've fed it to say, because God forbid it says something that wouldn't represent us at all. I would not want that.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I hope everything made sense. And again, this is something a little bit I know it was a lot of information, I think most school owners are just like, I just want students. I don't care, what it takes, right? But I think just understanding where you're at as a school owner and then seeing what gaps you have in your marketing. If you can fix those three main issues, like you're gonna get students. There's just no way you're not, right? And again, utilizing some of these newer tools and these newer systems are really gonna put you ahead of everybody else.
Yeah,
So
what you
Gus,
just said.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
What you just said was probably one of the most important things of the whole entire show, was that if you could just find out where you have gaps and then you could learn to fix them, everything will get better. And I think that's the big issue with many school owners. They don't know where to look and they don't know how to look, or they don't care to look because they're so tired and overwhelmed with everything that they're doing. And they're like, not another thing for me to do, dude. I don't have enough brain width to, do this, right? And it just becomes a little bit exhausting. So you're helping in all those areas. And I think that's amazing. And it literally will simplify a lot of school owners' lives.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I do really well. Like after doing this for so many years, it's like I'm really good at finding out where the gaps are, right?
Right.
Because I've seen this thousands of times, right? So even if somebody doesn't know, just schedule a call with me and I'll ask you the right questions and I'll see where you're at. And then from there we can build a game plan from that.
So can they do that? Where do they find you and how do they set up an
Yeah.
appointment?
You can just Google Lead Hunter Media. You see our website pop up, the first link at the very top. Go ahead and schedule a call with me, or just message me on Facebook, Gus Lopez on Facebook, or we have a big Facebook group like Martial Arts Marketing for School Owners. You can join that, ask questions there, right? Just look up Lead Hunter Media, and you should be able to find me on the first link on Google.
Awesome.
Excellent. Well, and I will, if you want to send me any links or anything that you want in the show notes, I can put those links in the show notes as well.
Yeah, I can send you that for sure.
So that wraps up another episode of SchoolOwnerTalk.com. Gus, again, we appreciate you, being a part of this and sharing this information with school owners. Also, it's not news to anybody unless you're new to listening to us that you run our marketing. So, of course we support you, and we say that everybody should do their marketing with you. But we'll put all that information in the show notes. And then if you know anybody in the industry that needs this information, we ask that you would share this specific podcast with them. Any other closing remarks, Allie?
No, I think like I started off with, just go back and re-listen, because there's been a lot of little golden gems, and little tiny tips that could possibly change the direction your school is going. And even if you just go 5% better, that's all it takes, right? Like, right, Duane, even with diet, right? 5% per week is huge, right? Like the end of the year, you could have lost or maintained or gotten better shape, like just from that little bit consistently throughout the year.
Yeah. Atomic habits, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks, Gus. Thanks, Allie.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Take care, everyone.
Now that's a wrap. Another episode of Martial Arts School Owner Talk is in the vast library. We appreciate you tuning in and being part of this incredible community. A huge thank you to everyone who makes this podcast possible, including our sponsors, such as EliteInsights.com, your go-to high-performing website company for martial arts schools, LeadHunterMedia.com, your expert in digital media and content creation for martial arts schools, AddHealthCoaching.com, helping school owners unlock a powerful revenue stream by providing the tools and framework to become a health coach. Thanks again for joining us. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share our show with other school owners and friends. See you on the next episode.